Well, I have no idea if the original Ultimate Universe will also play into this at all, given that
True.
they
It's still around.
they just fucking were like, yeah, original Ultimate Universe is still around. In fucking Spider-Boy, they literally were like, yeah, he just goes to the original Ultimate Universe. Isn't that funny? And I'm like, wait, hold the phone. I know we saw it. It was still there at the end of whatever the that run was. Yeah. Spider-Man 2, but like we haven't been there yet. Like, what the you're just gonna drop that on fucking issue 8 of Spider-Boy and then leave?
Oh! Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the hell are we doing?
Well, for starters, did you read the new Ultimate X-Men?
I did.
I did. Yeah. What did you think of that?
That book, dude. I'm so glad that I'm vindicated on that book, because I've been out here telling everyone, I've been like, this is a slow burn, okay, fucking relax, let it cook. And then slowly, as we started getting all those reveals, I was like, yep, they're cooking.
You gonna make me act up. You gonna make me do something I'm gonna regret.
This new issue came out, and I was just like, yes. Oh. You know, it was shit that had me like, oh. Excited. I've been very excited about this book. I love Peach Momoko.
She's such a great artist, dude. She's phenomenal. I
loved just all of like all the Kageyama stuff, all the Children of the Atom, just lore building that they were doing with like social media and stuff.
Yeah, right.
I do like how it's like a Japanese doomsday cult that are like, it's the end of the world because we are here, and so, you know what I mean, like, and we'll survive the end of the world through being mutants, and it's like cool.
It's
flip.
It's cool cult stuff. Like it's I thought it was really cool. I mean, yeah, just I did like the whole like the reporter like trying to go after like armor. I thought that was really cool. I do think that they love the social media stuff involving the Children of the Atom. I thought was really interesting. And yeah, the fact like they're setting something huge up just with the Children of the Atom, like especially like at the end of the issue where like Maestro, who like I thought Maestro was like a take on Mr. Sinister. I could be wrong.
Yes, no, he's entirely, I think, supposed to be Mr. Sinister.
Yeah, he's just like, we're gonna like, you know, be responsible for like the destruction of the world so that we can thrive. Yay. So just seeing like how that's gonna happen and seeing like how our main characters are gonna try to stop that is really cool.
Yeah, I love seeing Natsu use her power finally.
Awesome, dude. I thought that was dope. The thing is, like, I thought the eye patch was like kind of like similar to like Scott's in like the main universe, where it's like there's ruby quartz in there, so like it's active all the time, but she the eye patch is supposed to stop it. No, she can just activate it whenever, anytime she wants.
Yeah,
and it just burns through the eye patch.
Yeah, because she said, I think I remember her saying that it was because her eye is like a deep red color and it looks weird to everyone, so she just covers it up because she's like, I don't want people like fucking with me because of it.
Obviously, we have Nico, you know, Avia Runaway's character. Isn't the other girl with the ears, isn't this supposed to be like a Japanese version of like Molly from like the Runaways?
Yes, yeah.
And I love that character. I love Molly in the comics. So I'm waiting for her to use her power.
It's funny how I enjoy it a lot, because I always, when I started reading this, I was like, this is giving Runaways vibes instantly.
It is. It really is.
So I'm glad to see Peach Momoko like acknowledge and recognize that and be like, no, yeah, it's supposed to have Runaways vibes. That's why these guys are here. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, boy.
It was a great issue. I enjoyed it a lot. It definitely is still on a slow build, but I think I have full confidence that when this starts getting up and running, it's gonna hit. You know,
I mean, next issue is gonna be, from what I saw from the cover, is gonna be like the face off between Maystorm and Surge finally.
Yeah, and so that's what makes me think that. I mean, and now that we're like what 8 or 9 issues in, we're gonna start getting like some actual, like, we're gonna start moving, and I think once it starts moving, it's not gonna stop, and we're gonna be like, whoa, fuck yeah.
A few moments later,
Ultimate Spider-Man is a quick one, not because it's shit, because it's a great issue. It's
amazing. I honestly think it's the favorite issue of the series so far. I thought it was phenomenal. but yeah, just the fact that it's focused more on, it's a Ben and Jonah focused issue of them investigating, like, you know, what's going on with like Oscorp, and like they get onto Harry, and then they tie him into, they really figure out that, like, you know, he is, you know, the Green Goblin and all that, investigating while trying to, like, you know, bring up the, like, their paper to like the mainstream. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And there's no Spider-Man in it at all.
What? What the fuck?
That gave me original Ultimate Spider-Man vibes. The fact that they do an entire issue, no Spider-Man, barely any Peter. It's all about Uncle Ben and Jonah. And you're like, fuck, dude. This is like, it's the best issue purely because they're able to pull off a Jonah and Uncle Ben investigative journalism issue that is entirely compelling and also moves the plot along.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, and like the whole Harry conversation, the whole dealings with Gwen, the fact that all, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if I went back in like 2006 and I told Spider-Man readers, I was like, yeah, in 2024 we get a Spider-Man issue where Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson do investigative journalism by questioning Harry Osborn's wife, Gwen Stacy, who's the head of Oscorp, and like they're trying to figure out who Green Goblin is. Their heads would fucking explode. They'd be like, what the fuck do you mean Uncle Ben and Gwen Stacy are alive? Weren't those the two people that were never supposed to be alive again? And I'm like,
Yep.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
I'm excited for the future of this book. This book has been on fire the entire time. It's just the way that Hickman is able to infuse a very compelling and prescient theme into each of these issues in different ways. Like the fact that Jonah and Ben have, you know, inspired Peter to become Spider-Man through their discussions with him about how Peter needs to be more active in what he wants in life, and that he has to take back the life that he thinks he deserves. And we're seeing where that comes from with Ben and Jonah, with them, you know, just doggedly chasing this story of who controls Oscorp, what all these shell companies are from, and slowly going up to the top and you know, getting to the point where they're like, holy shit, Kingpin's directly working for the Maker and the Maker's Council, and finding out about all that. And then at the end of the issue, breaking the story. And it's like, they are having just as much of an effect as Spider-Man is existing in the world, which is like what's so interesting. And so like, it's a mark of, you know what I mean? It's like, big shocker, Jonathan Hickman's a good writer, but
yeah, right.
It's really like, he's so surprisingly good every time, because every time you're like, he can't get any better, and then he drops like an issue like this and you're like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We talked about it, but I thought it was brilliant, the fact that, like you said, we need to like release this story about the Kingpin without, like, you know, exposing our identities, because like he could kill us. So we're just coming with our own identity. Yeah, we'll call it. We'll say that the writer who wrote this story is none other than trusty reporter Ben Reilly. And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Loved it. You know, I just it's Hickman's. He's a great writer. Like you said, like no brainer. You know.
2 hours later.
But right before we started, that's the reason why we were late, is because Seamus wanted me to read Ultimates like right before, because he knew I was gonna like love it.
Because you were like, oh, I'll get to it eventually, and I was like, no, we're gonna talk about this right now because I want to talk about this with you. And I was sat there, and I was like, no, listen, I'll play a match of Call of Duty while you read this. And we over the call, the entire time I was just hearing you go like, oh my god, oh my god.
True, man. And it's funny because like ever since the Ultimates came out, we've been seeing like, you know, the solicits, and I saw, and after reading the Hulk, the She-Hulk issue, I was waiting for this issue to come out, because like Ultimate Hulk, as we've said previously, like off camera, was like so interesting. The point where like he's a fucking psycho, like at the guy, and he's a psycho disguised to the world as like a like Buddhist patron, like pacifist saint. And it's just like, it's so interesting. Like it's like if Gandhi was a Hulk that committed atrocities on the low, this is what this character is.
God damn.
Pretty much the face-off of like now the complete roster, which is I think is incredible. And I was telling you off camera, shit, like, I love the fact that they added Jim Hammond to this too. Like it just like,
yeah,
really cool.
They got Jim Hammond from that Ultimate Universe issue like that dropped in like June, and I was like, fuck yeah. And I just love like the whole roster. Thinking about it is what it's Captain America, Iron Lad, Thor, Sif, She-Hulk, Human Torch, Ant-Man, Wasp, and then Hawkeye,
America Chavez,
America Chavez too, and it's Doom. You don't sleep on Doom, man.
Don't sleep on post-traumatic Reed Richards, which is what they call
it. Dr. Depression, my boy.
Emotional damage.
It's a team that like if it was in a mainline Avengers book, I'd be like, I don't know about that. But in this, the way that Denise Camp has each character symbolize a very different and a very specific portion of the downtrodden society that we kind of like exist in today, and then has them all come together and coalesce into this team that is built to fight the oppressors of this world, is something that I think is the most it's the most topical, it's the most prescient book that is being released currently. And I think just the way that it speaks to a lot of the feelings that people have been having towards our own world and our own society is like, it's I don't want to speak out of line. I don't want to say shit that might upset people, but I think if this book stays like this for the entirety of its run, I think we will have a book that rivals Watchmen in terms of cultural impact eventually.
What did he say?
When you look at this book and you look at the way it's constructed and you look at the way that it exists in the universe that was created for it, it really speaks to a lot of the stuff that you kind of need in comics. It pays tribute to the origins of comics itself by having an entire group of working class people who gain extraordinary powers, and their first reaction is to try to use it to fight their oppressors and enact some kind of good in the world. And I think that's why every issue for me has hit in some way, because every issue explores a different facet of society that has been beaten. Through the power that one of their members gains, they can slowly rise up and then, enact the change that they so desperately need in the world. And I think that's why this issue hit so hard for me, because you spend 5 straight issues building that up, and then the first time they go up against the Hulk, they get smattered. And it's like, yep, I know these guys are called the Ultimates, but at their heart, they still are the Avengers. You know what I mean? They still are going to get smacked around a couple of times before they pull out the W. And I think this time was a perfect encapsulation of like, yes, these people have the heart, these people have the spirit, but they do not have the training to be able to go up against Hulk and his immortal weapons.
Oh my god, I almost died! No. I almost died! That was so scary. Thank you.
It's okay.
For me, bro, I'm a huge Immortal Iron Fist fan, and it was very nice to see.
We both are, man.
To this day!
How Denise Cam interprets, how to merges the Immortal Iron Fist stuff that is like set up, that like Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction set up with the character that's iconic in my opinion, and integrate that with like Bruce like this version of Bruce Banner. I thought it was brilliant, and it was just like it was so much of it was a fun surprise. Just to was so fun. I was like, this is crazy.
Like, I said this to you off camera, but I was like, I think that I am very glad to have a writer who is a deep fan of comic books. Denise Camp is directly a fan of the Matt Fraction, David Aja run of Hawkeye. He's a fan of the Ed Brubaker, Matt Fraction run of Immortal Iron Fist. And in each of the books that he writes the character for, he has the entire issue themed around a run of that character, which is beautiful to me. You know what I mean? Like the Cap issue was entirely themed around the original Ultimates cap, and like the dichotomy between Mark Millar's post 9/11 Ultimates and this new Age Ultimates that Denise Camp's trying to run, and like you know what I mean, with the many references to like the original Ultimates book in that cap issue, and then having the Hawkeye run be heavily referenced by to the David Aja Matt Fraction run with a lot of the visual style taken, and then now with this, with like you were pointing out, they're using like the finishing move names that were present in the Immortal Iron Fist run. They're using the Immortal weapons that were introduced there, but giving it like a Hulk spin. And it just shows such like a love of comic books themselves that like it's like we're so blessed to have a writer who like loves comic books.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
And is also like an extremely talented writer.
I really did enjoy it. I thank you for making me not do the forced thing of me waiting later to read it.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun, and especially that ending, dude. Which I won't say here, but it was. I'm so looking forward to reading this next month. I can't wait.
If this remains at the quality it does, we're having like an all-timer run on our hands. It's just so like. I just can't wait. It has me excited to see the rest of the universe and what he does, and that Ultimate Universe issue that's dropping in December is going to hit like crack for me, because I'm going to get to see like Nick Fury, and then like the solicitations for the issues that are coming in 2025 got me. I'm getting like Luke Cage. I'm getting like a time displaced future version of Captain Marvel who's with the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm getting versions of these characters that I know are going to speak to issues that are very prevalent in our society today, and how normal people like us can stand up to those issues. You know what I mean? Like that Luke Cage issue, dude, about the prison, dude, an entire issue about the prison industrial complex.
Yeah,
it's gonna hit like crack, dude, because we're gonna get a writer who's gonna be like, "Fuck this shit." He's gonna outright be like, "Fuck this," and I'm gonna be like, you know. So I think it is so interesting, speaking to the universe as a whole, to see a universe so diametrically opposed to its origins. You know what I mean? You look at the original Ultimate Universe, and you look at this Ultimate Universe, and you just see like that's why I enjoy this one so much better. That's why I was on the hype train when they announced it was coming back, because I was like, we are going to get like the best version of the Ultimate Universe, because we're doing Marvel right now, but instead of making it so that way we can just like attract teenagers by making it edgy, and like it's right now Spider-Man kisses Gwen Stacy, who's his adopted sister. Isn't that salacious? Don't you want to read that? And you being like, oh, gross.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Instead, now we're getting issues that are like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, Iron Lad's trying to fight pollution and the effects it has on newborn babies, and how they come out deformed but still have to live their lives under an entire group of care. You know what I mean? And how depressing that is. Or like how Captain America has to reckon with the fact that America has fallen, and that the star that he wears on his chest is no longer exists, and how he has to carry the American dream on his back by himself because America doesn't exist anymore, and how you can move forward despite having your faith in your country entirely wiped out. And it's like, yeah, that's Marvel right now. You know what I mean? Yep. We're finally having like adult conversations in our books. So
yeah.
And this book really might be my favorite of the year. It might be my favorite of this decade. I just love this book so much. Like, I'm very glad it exists. I'm very glad this universe exists. I'm eager to see the first climactic battle in a year's time when the Maker finally comes back. But
which is gonna be crazy.
I wonder how Miles is gonna play in all of this. You know, because they still haven't said anything about that card that the Maker gave him.
Yeah, that brother's starving. Yes, sir, brother.